Hey, this is Justin with Complete Barndo Solutions, and in continuing our series of talking to people that have an impact on our customers, we're here with Kelly today. She's our Director of Operations, and she's the first person that you see after you talk to me. She's really your Sherpa through this whole experience. So, welcome, Kelly.
Hi, Justin. How are you this morning?
I'm doing well. Doing well. It's sunny outside. So, we're going to dive right into it because I know your schedule is crazy right now, getting ready for the summer build. So, start off with telling us a little bit about yourself and kind of how you ended up working with us here at Complete Barndos.
No problem. So, again, my name is Kelly, and I am the operations manager here. You guys will see me from the moment you get onboarded until the end of your build. I was a school teacher for 20 years. So my organizational strategies are a little different, but I keep everybody in order around here and make sure that all of your builds get taken care of in a timely manner and things happen like they're supposed to. We I came into this business, I guess, middle of the year last year, and kind of took over some roles. I wear lots of hats, but um, this role is just something that I enjoy. I enjoy talking to people. I enjoy dealing with people. I like the organization behind what we do here and how we take care of our people when you do come into our system.
So, you left your role as a school teacher to do this with us.
I did. I left my role as a school teacher in May, and I started, I think, the day after I left my role as a school teacher in
Wow,
this position.
right
Yeah.
on. Now, I talk to the customer when they first come in, and then I onboard them to you. What's the first thing that you kind of help them with once I've, onboarded them and sent that email?
So we talk about their real estate needs. We talk about their financial needs. We talk about what they see in their head whenever they think of their dream home. Because by the time they get to me, they've already thought about it and they've been thinking about it for quite some time. And they know exactly what they see in their head. They know what they want. And all I do is try to put that down on a piece of paper, put it in front of our designer and explain to our customers, here's your budget. This is what you're wanting. This is what we can and can't do for you. I don't like to say what we can't do for you, but there are cases where I have to tell people, that's too big of a house for your budget. So, but we can give you this smaller house for your bud that fits your budget, and it will be everything that you want it to be. So I just pretty much guide them and direct them in their dreams and aspirations.
Right on. So because we're the designer and the builder, it allows us to kind of fit into the budget that they're working with and give them something amenable.
Absolutely.
Right on. Finding land. That's part of something that we do. What are the common maybe tips and tricks or even mistakes you see people make when they're selecting their land?
So the first thing I ask them is what they're looking for, right? Are they looking for the city? Are they looking for rural? Are they looking for a lot? Are they looking for 60 acres? And we just kind of talk about those things. I, being a horse girl, kind of understand land and that kind of stuff and what you need to be able to build these barndominiums on them and have that back porch, look off of your back porch, see the deer, watch your cows, whatever the case may be. But I also understand building in the city and things like permitting and water and utilities and sewer and that kind of stuff. So I think probably the biggest misconception about land is that you have to build a barndo on 50 acres. That's not the case. We can build a barno on anything. It's just all about what you desire, what you enjoy, what you like, and we're going to do our best to help you find that piece of property that makes that dream home complete.
Right on. And then so you connect our customers to land search partners. What are you usually trying to get over to the land search partners so that they help the customer in the right way? Like, what are you trying to communicate to them, I guess?
So what I do is I try to get a grab for the personality of the person. what the client, what they're looking for. If they want 10 acres, what do they want to do on that 10 acres? Do they want to sit on their back porch and enjoy the sound of cows eating grass? Or are they just wanting that 10 acres for their four-wheelers and all of the fun things with their grandkids that they're wanting? And I'm just trying to get a grab for that person, that person's personality, what they're looking for. And then I ask them specific questions like, where do you want to be? If you want to be in the Dallas area, that scope of land is huge. Do you want to be outside of Dallas? Do you want to be in Dallas? Do you want to be in Kaufman County? Do you want to, where do you want to be? What do you want? And then once I get a grab for who they are on our onboarding call, I'm able to get a grab for their personality, really what their dreams are. And then what I do is I talk to our land team, I give them all the specific information, and then I tell them things like, hey, this person would really love lots of trees, whatever the case may be. But I have that hold on their personality, and I'm able to share that with our land team, and then they're able to find that perfect property for our customer.
Right on. So that leads into my next question. Land choice affects the design of the barn, though, yeah?
Absolutely.
And how
Absolutely.
how do those tie into each other, really?
So a lot of people come into us with these grand ideas of what a barn dominium should look like, right? And a lot of them think that a barn dominium is just simply a box with a metal roof and metal sides, and it's just a square. I've actually had somebody call it a chicken house. Like they
Oh,
didn't want it to look like a chicken house. And on a ranch, on a 50-acre piece of property, maybe that chicken house is okay. But in the city, you want the detailed look and you don't want it to just look like a box. So it definitely depends on the client's personality, B, what they're looking for in their dream home, and C, where they're putting it. So a lot of those things come into play.
it gets even more important when they're looking for smaller pieces of land, I would assume.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Instead of building that long, what's that, farm style house, we're going to make it more compact, but we're still going to give you the same room. So instead of making it long, we may make it wider. So you're still getting the same aesthetics of the big house that you want or desire. It just may look a little different.
Right.
You're not getting that ranch style on 1 acre or a half acre. You're getting the more like the one that's behind you, just that
Okay.
more deep set house on that half-acre lot.
Right on. Financing. One of the big misconceptions is that barndominium financing is hard to do. Do you find that with our financing partners? Does it become a lot easier these days?
It's a lot easier to get financing for a barndominium. 25 years ago, when my husband and I started doing this, we were just doing it out of our house. When we started doing this, it was really hard to get financed. But now, with the popularity of barndominiums, finance companies are realizing that this is a house. It's not a barn. It's a house. And so our partners over at NAF are amazing to work with. We aren't having any trouble getting people financed as long as all the things line up for your conventional loan or your FFA, FHA, or your VA loans. And we actually do all three. So we're not having any trouble getting financing. It's become a lot easier over the last 25 years, and that's probably the biggest misconception, is that people come in with this idea that they're not going to be able to get financed because it's a barndominium.
Okay. What should they have ready after, we know we need plans to get through financing, get an approval, and you kind of want to have land too, but what other things should they be getting ready so that when it does come time to finance, that goes as smoothly as possible?
So our finance partners over at NAP are going to ask for things like W-9s, W-2s, paycheck stubs for the last 60 days, I believe. They're going to ask for bank record statements. Um, They're just going to ask for a lot of paperwork that people aren't necessarily always prepared for, but they don't realize that they're already prepared for it. They already have it. They just got to go they got to go get it.
Yeah.
So whenever you talk to one of our partners at NAF, when I send out that original email saying, hey, welcome to the team, here's Todd Chrisman, for example, with NAF, he's going to reach out. Todd is so good. Within 5 minutes of sending out that email, he is reaching out, he is setting up a meeting, and he will tell you everything that he needs on that very first call. We don't, I want to make sure that everybody understands that we don't know what goes on with your financial status. The only thing that Todd tells us is what we need to know. And he asks, I talk to him every single day. He tells me what paperwork he needs, and he doesn't tell me anything about your financial status until it's time for us to go to that table. So I just want to make sure everybody knows that.
So it's compartmentalized and their privacy is protected.
Absolutely.
Right. Well, I'm actually interviewing Todd here soon, so he's going to be able to dive in a little bit more into that subject matter, which I think will be extremely helpful for everybody on the other side of this. Um, Customer gets into design, they're having a good time with the design team, they're working through it, you know, then they get to selections. What does that look like? And how do you help them stay on budget while they're kind of doing that selections?
So one of the things that I have personally built 3 houses, and one of the things that just absolutely wore me out the most was selections. People don't realize how many things they really have to choose. They think that when you walk into a house that you're going to buy, everything's already there except for the furniture, and all you have to do is move in the furniture. Right. And if you want to change the cabinet pulls, that's really simple deal. You just go buy the cabinet pulls that you want and exchange them. But when we build a house from ground up, those are things that you have to select. And they don't realize that you have to select everything down to the switches that go into for you to switch your lights on and off. Um, Yesterday, I was with a gentleman and I said, I had some pictures up on my screen and I said, hey, look at all these things. Let me show you all the things that you have to select. And when I started naming them off, he simply said to me, and you're going to do that for me. So I have come up with a PowerPoint, and I will actually go through a construction meeting with you, the client, and we will choose selections together. Um, I have selected 3 of the most popular. We call them our good, better, best products. And I have selected 3 products for everything that we have to make selections on for you to choose. If there's something that you don't like and it's not your style, you're not going to hurt my feelings and you can select something different. I'll be glad to give you a number and you stay in that number. If for some reason you go out of that number, then that's something that you'll have to pay for out of pocket. But for the most part, I've given you really good allowances. And so those selections are really easy when you know what you have to choose.
Excellent. So they go through all that session. It actually happens online too with you. We have a whole platform that we just put in so customer has ultimate transparency. They can go in and look at those selections anytime they want, right?
Yes, so we use a program called JobTread. And once you come in and your design has been completed, then we put you into JobTread. We send you an email. You are able to see your whole platform. You can see your designs there. You can see any communication that you and I have there. And then when we sit down and we do your selections will actually be right there. And what I do is I send out an email that says, hey, your selections have been completed. Please go in and make sure that I didn't make a mistake and verify that those selections are true and correct. If one of them is incorrect, just let me know and I'll fix it. And then you sign off on that, and then that gives us the hard numbers, and I call them hard numbers because all of the estimates up to that point are just going to be exactly what I called them. They're going to be estimates. But once we have your designs finalized and your selections finalized, now I'm able to give you a true bid, that hard fixed number for you to be able to say, let's do it. So,
Right
but
on.
that's what
And
the
Nice. Now, I made my selections and I've approved them. How quickly do I get my like full bid to sign off on so that I can get the construction started? Like, how long does that take normally?
I usually tell customers within 2 weeks. It really depends on my workload. I am the one doing all the bidding, so it really depends on my workload. And I've already helped them all the way through design, so the customers know that not only am I doing all the bidding and not only am I doing all the construction that we're building, but I'm also helping new customers that come in. So I tell all my customers about 2 weeks, give or take, and that really is dependent when we give you that rough estimate bid, that's the one we do right after your plans. So your plans get completed. We come to your site, we do that site visit, and then I'm able to give you a estimated bid. The reason I call it an estimated bid is because I don't have numbers for things like utilities, water, septic, driveway, if we have to dig a well, um, power, those kinds of things. I don't have numbers for those, exact numbers for those, because I just took your measurements at your site visit, and now I need to call those companies and get you a hard number. So once I get that hard number, then I finish that bid out for you and I send you a fixed price. And that price will not change if you sign a contract with us to build your house within 30 days. If it's over 30 days, then I'm going to have to rebid that. And the reason for that is because the price fluctuation right this second. It could go up, it could come down, it could stay the same. But in order for us to do our due diligence and you to do yours, I have to rebid that within 30 days of the original fixed price bid.
Right on. 2 weeks. I mean, we tell people approximate timeline for their whole bid. It fits in with all that. The other thing we don't want to do is miss something. Missing something
Correct.
definitely creates problems. So people can be rest assured that we're taking that time to make sure that we get you the right bid complete.
Absolutely.
We don't have to go back. Okay. Um, Obviously we take care of permits for customers and we look at code compliance because once we get in the build, we don't want to run into issues. Kind of why we do renderings for our customers, and I always tell them we do this to make sure that we're, once we start swinging the hammer, it's easy mode after that, is what I'm thinking now. A lot of people get overwhelmed by that.
Mhm.
Is there anything county level that comes up that has shocked you before or anything like that?
So permits always shock me because every time I think that I've got all my P's and Q's done and I've got it submitted, um, they always come back and say, oh, you forgot this. So I will tell you that permits are overwhelming. They are hard. And that's why we take over for the customer and they don't have to worry about it. Um, Utilities permits are, especially within the city and city codes, they are very hard. They could take months, and that's really frustrating. So, what our hope is that while we're in design, we find that perfect piece of property. We're able to get started on those so that if it does take longer than we anticipated, then we're able to stay on that timeline like we want to be. And permits are frustrating. They never cease to amaze me. You send an email asking for all the paperwork. They send you all the paperwork. You do all of it, and then you submit it, and they go, "Oh, you forgot this page." And I say, "You never sent me that page." So, but it's always time consuming, always frustrating. The one thing I will say about permitting is that the more frustrated I get, the less they put forth effort, meaning your county or city permitting office. The worst thing that can happen is that my customer can go in and start raising Cain with the permit office, and they just simply take that piece of paper and stick it at the bottom. So one thing I do ask my customers to do is to let me handle all the permitting. And if you want to handle it, I'm okay with you handling it. Just know that it is time consuming and it is frustrating.
Yeah. Yeah, I tell people always on the first call that there's two main things we can't control. We can't control the weather and we can't control the government. So permits take as long as they take, and the weather does whatever it's gonna do. But you're right, you do catch more flies with honey than you do with vinegar, for sure.
Absolutely.
Even if we are frustrated. Um, Less permits when you go more rural. Would that be correct?
Yeah, that is correct. If you're outside of the city limits, then you might have to deal with county permitting. Usually, county permitting is only with your septic system. But we do have a septic guy that does all of our septics for us, and all we have to tell him is what county, and he takes care of it. So that's a lot simpler process if you are going into the county and staying out of the city. But with the city, you've got the amenities of the city. You have
Yeah,
city water, you have city sewer, you have city electric. Like you don't have to worry about digging that well and putting that septic system in. So there's pluses and minuses to any piece of property that you buy.
fair enough. We can help take care of all of those things within our scope, which really helps out. Are there
Absolutely.
any zoning issues to Texas that somebody that is moving from out of state, we have a lot of people moving from all over, should consider when we're looking at land or anything? It's stuff that they would have maybe never seen before.
I don't really think so. I mean, we Texas is pretty typical. We have big pieces of property that are being sold off and they're turning into housing additions. And really, all you really have to worry about in something like that is HOAs and following those HOAs. We had a client that built their dream plans. Everything was great, and then we got their HOAs after the design was done, and one of the HOAs said that they had to have 25% of stone on their building, which we did not know going into. So with that being said, if you do buy into a piece of property that has an HOA, I need those as soon as possible so that we can make sure that we follow all of those HOAs for you and we don't get into a jam and it delay us on our build.
Right on. Perfect. That was my next question, actually, was how do we deal with HOAs, on covenants? So, okay, I'm going to circle back to maybe a question that I should have asked at the beginning. We have a design inspiration folder that we send out to you. How should people use that? Because a lot of times on my side, I get, well, I don't know where to start, or I don't know, what I don't know. And we're really starting with a blank piece of paper for everybody. So, what do you suggest people do with it? And like, is starting from scratch overwhelming for a lot of people, or do we do make the steps so that it's not overwhelming for them?
So in my experience, 90% of our customers who come in at some point in their life have dreamed about building their own home. And they currently live in a home that either they absolutely love or they absolutely hate. There's really no in between. They really love some things, they really hate some things, right? And so in their mind, everybody has said, oh, if I had it to do over again, I would change this about my house. So in their mind, they really already know what they want. On my onboarding call, I always start with, hey, listen, at the end of this call, I'm going to ask you to do some homework. And then I say, and I'm so sorry if you don't like the word homework because I was a teacher for 20 years and that's just the only word I know to use. But I'm going to ask you for some homework. I know. And then at that point, I start talking to the wife because she's the one who's thought about what she wants. The husband has thought about the shop, the porches, where he's going to put his grill and that kind of stuff, but he really doesn't care about the inside unless it's, the kitchen because he's the cook or whatever. So that's when I turn my attention to the wife and I say, hey, listen, I know that at some point in your life, you have looked at TikTok, you have looked at Pinterest, you have seen on Facebook, and you've seen something that you really, really liked, and you snapped a picture of it or you saved it. Well, guess what? It's time for you to start sharing that with me. And I also tell them, I don't care if you've drawn a sketch out on a napkin, send that to me because those were your ideas and your ideas are valuable. So whatever you can send me to get us started is wonderful. That meeting again, that onboarding meeting again gives me that ability to figure out those people's personalities And that also helps with the design perspective because I'm able to write on the notes. This person specifically wants that Victorian feel or that farmhouse feel. And then our designers are able to just take that and kind of run with it with their own creativity. So anything that a customer can give me that they have envisioned in their head, their wants, their desires, everything they can give me is helpful.
Perfect. Right on. I always thought all these creations came from a blank sheet of paper. So when I point out the stuff
Absolutely.
even behind me that I put up there, I think it's really important for people to understand that that's what we do. We take you from that. There's no worry. We'll get you there. Just share as much as you can about what you really want to see, because this is your a good chance to get exactly what you want. There's no compromise.
Absolutely.
So, all right. We, as a company, believe that to build a great home, it's through strong relationships and constant clear communication, not just with our customers, but with our vendors and with, the people on site, so on and so forth. What does that look like for you, from the first time somebody's onboarded all the way till they have keys in hand? What does that look like?
So I try to make a very good relationship from the very beginning. I talk to these people professionally, but also personally. So what I mean by that is when I'm taking notes on what their dreams are, I remind them of little things like, for instance, you may not even think about a closet in the utility room for brooms, mops, cleaning supplies, things like that. So when I throw in those little tidbits, or I say something like, I did that in my first house that we built. Let me show you pictures. It it makes it more personal, and they know that I'm in this with them. I also tell them that I try to send a text out before our onboarding meeting to just say, hey, just wanted to remind you we're having an onboard meeting today at such and such time. And then that way, those people have my phone number, my cell phone number that rings in my pocket every day of the week. And then when we get on the call, I just tell them, you have my personal number. You can reach me. I also tell them, please understand that, you're not my only client. We're dealing with lots of clients. And the best way to reach me is through a text. And you can call me all you want. And if I don't answer, it's probably because I'm in a meeting, but I will call you back. You just got to give me a second. So the best way to get me is to send me a text and say, hey, Kelly, I really need to chat. I will send you a message back that says, hey, I'm in a meeting or whatever I'm doing. I'll call you at such and such time. And that just makes it more personable because they know that I'm here. They know that I'm willing to listen. They know that I'm available to help them at any point. My cell phone starts at 6 a.m. And I may not answer at 6 a.m., but they know that I'm going to answer them back because it is personal at this point. And building a house is personal. It's stressful. It is their dreams coming to life. And they need somebody there that they know they can pick up the phone and text or call, and somebody's going to answer, and somebody's going to help, and somebody's going to lead, guide, and direct.
Yeah, I think a big point of when we started this originally was let's cut out all the BS and let's let customers go right to where they can get the answer that matters. When I was talking to Larry last week, one of our project managers, same idea. You're going to be dealing with him. We want you to be able to talk right to him. You don't need to be herding 18 different subcontractors like herding cats to get the answers that you need. And I think that's one thing that really does truly separate us from a lot of other places and leads to the good reviews and the good vibes that we get. So this one's fun. What's the most rewarding part? You're getting a customer through everything from onboarding to eventually the keys in their hand. What's the most rewarding part about that? What do you like the most? Share with us.
Well, so I think that the most rewarding part is just being able to turn those keys over to those people and them being happy and satisfied. I'm not a I need to be patted on my back kind of person. I'm just very self-sufficient. But I will tell you that getting that email that says, hey, Kelly, thank you for everything that you have done. We really appreciate it. Man, that's super rewarding because I know that I did my absolute best for that customer and that they are happy. I think it's just a matter of, and we're not always there to watch those kids run into that brand new house, but sometimes we get the ability to be at that house when somebody comes to show them, when they bring their parents or they bring their brother and sister. Hey, come look at the house, the framing's up, or hey, come look at the house, the sheetrock's up. And sometimes we're able to be there when they walk through the door, and that is super rewarding. So I guess just the fact that I know that I'm doing the best job that we can as a company to make sure that these people are happy and satisfied and they are building a house that they can raise a family in, live through their retirement in, and not have to worry about, I don't know, I don't not even have to worry about possibly not being able to get into that house, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. I always imagine all the memories that they're going to create in that. We
Absolutely.
build the house, or we build the house, they build the home to me.
Absolutely.
So I think that's
Absolutely.
cool. Um,
Yeah.
it's fun when we get those videos of people saying the same stuff too. That also it
Yeah.
definitely fills you with a lot of gratitude for what we do.
And it's those relationships that we build. We've got a particular client right now that we've built a very close relationship with. We have another client that has finished design. She's waiting to sell her house. And all she keeps telling me is once this house gets built, y'all are going to have to come and hang out with us and sit on the back porch. And so those are the relationships that's the rewarding part is building these relationships with people that we wouldn't necessarily get to build them with if we didn't do what we do. So
Yeah, and it just shows how tight that personal connection gets as you're going through this. So that's
absolutely.
awesome. Last question.
Yep.
Somebody wants to build a barn dough. They've been thinking about it for a long time. It's a dream for them. They're not sure where to start. What should they do?
Call us.
Fair enough. Yeah, I like
Call
that
us.
answer.
Call us. But no, I guess really just do your research. Go to a barndominium. If you know somebody that's built a barndominium, if you see one for sale, go look at a barndominium. Because one of the biggest misconceptions about a barndominium is it's just like another house. It's not.
Hmm.
An 18 square foot barndominium is really equivalent to a 2,200 square foot brick and mortar. The really cool thing about a barndominium, and I tell all of my clients this, is 10 years down the road, you're 30 something and you built this house and you're never going to leave. And 10 years down the road, you're like, you know what, this doesn't work for us. Let's do some remodeling. You know what's really cool about a barndominium is you can go inside and you can start knocking walls down and you can knock the whole house down and start over. And so that's, just do your research on barndominiums because it is a really popular thing right now. But on the other side of popularity, it's really about livability and the ability to do the things you want to inside that house. So do your research, find your inspirations, and call us.
Absolutely. Give me a shout. Or a great place to start your research. I just want to point out we have a great website with so much information. I put off everything on there that you could possibly want. Check it out. Well, Kelly, I know you got like a million things to do and your schedule's probably full and you got tons of people to talk to. So, first of all, grateful that you took the time to kind of communicate what your position is for people to understand and kind of give them a glimpse into what that day looks like and how we help people. So, just want to thank you again. And if you're looking for building a barn door, absolutely call us. You'll talk to me, then you'll eventually talk to Kelly, and we look forward to being able to help you. Bye for